Yeah, please feel free to use the chat while we're
Oh, yeah,
waiting.
I can talk. I can talk on about it.
Well, a lot of people are very excited to see you. I can see already in the chat.
Hi, guys.
um, okay, I think we're all set. And everyone else who are going to join us later are more than welcome. Hello, everyone. Those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Eden. I'm a Jewish Agency Israel Fellow and Program Associate at Hillel International. Very excited to be here with my Vander, doing our Hillel Home session. Just so you know, in case you just joined, you can turn on your cameras, but please make sure you're unmuted. And this session is being recorded and also live streamed on Facebook. So please enjoy watching it afterwards or share it with your family, friends later. As every other session, we will be more than happy to hear your questions and your notes or everything that you want to say. But if you have any questions, please message them to Paula Harlan here. You can see her, yeah. Please message her and she will turn it to you once we're going to start the questions, the general questions, and you can unmute yourself and ask the questions once she approaches you. We have two great students here that are going to do the introduction and are going to help us do all the question section. We have Alex from University of Miami, and we have Jenna from University of Southern California. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'll start us off. I'm Alex. I'm a junior at University of Miami. I am double majoring in psychology and elementary education. I come from the snowy winters in Westport, Connecticut, so the change in moving to Miami is highly welcomed. Outside of school, I enjoy working with kids and engaging in Jewish life on campus. Jenna?
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a senior at USC studying real estate development and finance. This past summer, I actually interned in Tel Aviv for a real estate company, and currently I'm just interning in downtown for another commercial real estate company. And in my free time, I enjoy doing yoga and I love interior design. So, yeah. Today we have a very special guest, Maya Vander. She has the innate ability to understand and meet her clients' needs as a trusted advisor throughout the sale and purchase process, and prides herself on successfully bringing a property and client together, which is super important in selling real estate, as you've seen in selling Sunset. Maya always puts the needs of her clients first, even traveling from Miami to LA, and being as responsive as possible, even with kids. Maya values the importance of listening to buyers and sellers and going outside of the box and using her personality to put clients at ease. Maya's lived in several countries, especially, like, as we should know, Israel. She grew up in a lot, the Netherlands, Spain, and Singapore before moving to LA. And now she lives in Miami, and we're super excited to have her here today. So welcome, Maya.
Thank you. Wow, I'm like, are you talking about me? No, yeah, I'm excited to be with you guys. I see all the comments a little bit on the right side of my screen, and it's awesome. I'm really excited to answer your question, and we can talk about, I guess, whatever you want, selling Sunset, real estate, Israel, whichever. So I'm gonna let Alex and Jenna, I guess, host, and I'm very happy to be here.
So I can get us started. My first question for you, Maya, is we have to ask LA or Miami, and why?
It's a tough question. So I'm going to be very politician here. I would say 50-50. I think LA is great. You have the stable weather, and I lived there for 15 years. So it's a long time, and I have amazing friends. But Miami does remind me a little bit of Israel. It's a bit more hot and sticky, which is not ideal, but the ocean is nice and warm, and I like the nightlife, the style. So I want to lean a little bit more towards Miami, but LA will always be home too, after Israel. So.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess our next question is kind of jumping into more your career. How did you get into luxury real estate in particular? I saw like from your LinkedIn that you kind of got your start with your family doing like flipping homes.
Well,
So
my
yeah.
dad, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, is that something like you see yourself doing in the future potentially, or are you like, do you just love selling homes?
No, so my dad in the past did a couple of flips back in Holland. My dad is Dutch, but it wasn't anything crazy. It's not like I grew up in some real estate family, like, minor projects. I was working actually in a clothing store on Melrose in LA when I moved from Israel. And then I wanted to have my own store. But then 2000, I guess 10, 2009, the recession hit and a lot of those retail already suffered. And my mom told me, why don't you go study real estate? So I took my real estate class, and that's the easy part, right? Like you get your license and then what? And then I joined a small company, Normand and Associates. It's a boutique company in Beverly Hills. And I worked there for about a year. And then I joined Keller Williams because they had great training for new agents. And then I remember I used to door knock, literally go door to door and ask people, hey, do you want to sell? And I saw Jason's marketing right at the door, like for up in the hills. And I told myself, how am I going to compete with this guy? I mean, he has an amazing marketing. And a couple of months later, he actually approached me and he's like, hey, I opened my own office. Do you want to join? And I figured if I want to sell something more expensive, then it will be good for me to work with him in his company, since it's a boutique, company. And I was actually the first girl. So, I set a lot of open houses, expensive houses, and that's how you start, tapping into the more like high price point. But you know what? I'm in Miami now and I still sell $400,000 condos. So it's not always luxury. It's a good mix.
Awesome. That's super cool. I think Alex has a follow-up question.
Yeah, so I love that you touched on, your experience in real estate, and I'm wondering what was the process like for the Oppenheim Group to start at Netflix, and how has your balance of work and life changed since the show first aired?
It's very, very hectic. So about actually in September 20, so almost 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, the producer drove on Sunset, and Jason had a billboard with obviously the good-looking crew. And he said, you know what, that could be a cool idea for a reality show. So he messaged Jason and Brett, and they actually said no. They didn't want to do it. Couple of months went by. Producer approached him again, and he decided, you know what, why not? Let's do a demo. So it was me, Christine, Mary, and Heather in the demo, among with 2 other girls. Nicole was one of them. She's still with the O group. She's friends with Mary. And another girl, my friend Joanna, who actually left. But we were, those 6 girls. We shot the demo. Couple of months went by. They were trying to sell the demo to E or Bravo, and one of those, they say no. Then Netflix said, you know what, let's do a pilot. Then we shot a pilot a couple of months later, and then they picked it up. So it took a while. It wasn't like, hey, let's just do a reality show. It took a good 2.5 years until, season 1 came out from the moment they actually approached Jason. And meantime, those 2 girls decided to not do it, and then Chriselle joined the O group. She was with another brokerage, and Davina joined because she used to sell very high-end condos, and she joined the Oppenheim Group. So they were kind of like the last-minute addition to the show. So yeah, 2.5 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So you were so genuine and open about your attempts to start a family on the show from the very beginning. Congratulations. It's super exciting on the birth of your second child. How does motherhood play a role in your work, and especially now with COVID, trying to work with clients and having kids at home? How has that changed for you? Yes.
So it's very, very challenging. We both work from home, and I've been very busy between stuff with the show and a lot of good potential clients, actually both in LA and Miami. So once my babies are sleeping at 8 p.m., I'm emails, checking inventory and all that. when I need to go do showings or inspections, my husband watched the kids, but it's been very difficult. I always, like, every day I'm like, okay, what's important for me to get done today? Is it like, you know, the contract I gotta send out, or is it like a showing or preview that I have to do for a client? Is it stuff that I need to do for the show? But it's been challenging. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think once we get like maybe part-time help, and maybe my son will go to daycare, it will definitely be slightly easier for me to focus more on work.
So I guess a follow-up question to that would be like, how is your professional life like in terms of like doing deals and like doing showings? Has that like changed drastically since COVID?
You know, it's interesting. So a lot of people are actually looking to buy houses. They don't want to be in a condo, especially here in Miami. They want the space. So I do see good activity with real estate, and interest rates are still pretty low. I mean, 3% for 30 years, it's pretty good to buy. So that's attractive. So I've been actually busy. I sold the unit, you know, in a brand new construction here in Miami. The client didn't even see the unit, so I was lucky with that. I'm in escrow on 2 other, you know, 1 condo, one house. And I'm working with a couple of very serious clients, and hopefully they will come through, but we'll see. That's the thing with real estate, you know, you can be like calculating your like nice big check commission, but you can easily go to 0. So fingers crossed, some of them will actually be serious. But I've been actually pretty busy, so I'm lucky.
That's good. So in selling Sunset, it's obviously not just about selling homes. You guys cultivate a very specific and unique brand for each person. And I wanted to know what recommendations you have for students on how to set themselves apart in any industry and build a professional brand.
So it's funny that you said that, because yeah, selling Sunset, I don't know if people notice, but it's not about real estate. I mean, I wish it would be 100% real estate, but you know what? People care more why we shall get divorced than if I sold the house in Sherman Oaks. So I think the producers are very smart by the way they do it. So the real estate is like obviously the profession. Look, we're all real estate agents. We all license. Some of us may be more doing it full time than others. But I think every girl is unique, right? So for me, I love real estate. I've been doing it for 7 years, almost 8. And that's my focus. I mean, Christine, she wants to be more like a fashion icon. So I think to the student, to each their own. I mean, everybody should pursue their dreams and do what they believe, you know, going to make them happy and what works for them. And, you know, it's everybody are different. So, you know, in the show, you see different personalities, and people can relate to different characters, I guess, if you want to call it that way. For me, I just, you know, want to be more on the professional side with Selling Sunset. I don't want to be involved with the drama. And that's why I guess the least screen time. But you know what? I just want to remain professional. I really want to take this as an opportunity to elevate my business to the next level, versus, you know, throwing someone a glass of wine on her face and call her names. It's not that important to me. But yeah.
Definitely important to take the high road in some situations like that, my opinion. I guess like a follow-up to that, since we're talking about a little bit about, you know, like professionalism, would you have any like recommendations for yourself looking back when you were like say in college or like our age, around 20 years old?
Yeah, so I mean, look, when I was 20, I used to model back in the days when I was young. I traveled. I lived in Spain, I lived in Singapore, I lived in Amsterdam, in Malaysia. Yeah, I could get into Malaysia because I have a Dutch passport, in case you guys wonder, because it's doesn't have the diplomatic relationship with Israel. But so I traveled a lot, and I see the world, and I think it was an amazing experience. Then I moved to the United States, and I worked in retail for a long time. And I don't have a degree, and I wish I actually had a degree, because I think it would maybe help me a little bit more. Jenna, to your point, I would love to honestly be doing commercial real estate. I think it's great, and I wish I would be more good with Excel sheet and all that stuff. But you know what, I do residential, and I was 27 when I decided to go to real estate. So, but actually, well, no, 29, sorry. And that was my profession because I also didn't have a degree. So that was kind of like my only thing. I'm like, what am I going to do? Sell clothes for the rest of my life? So real estate was a good backup. I think, just if you have a passion, just follow your passion, be consistent, and know that you have to hustle. Nothing comes easy. And I think it's in every profession, every sales job. You gotta hustle. It's just no excuse, no, unless you got lucky and you got great connection or a family that you can work for. But other than that, it's a grind, no matter what profession you are in. So the key is to not give up.
Totally. I love that. I think
And
Alex has
I know you just touched on like growing up in your childhood. We've seen so many moments throughout the series where you reference being Israeli and working with Israeli clients. I want to hear the larger story. Can you share with us your experience growing up in Israel, and anything else you want to share about that?
So I grew up in Eilat. It's a very small city by the Red Sea. I don't know if maybe some of you know, some of you don't. But yeah, someone is in Eilat and people always tell me, I was joking with the girls, nobody ever met someone from Eilat. But anyway, it's a very small city by the Red Sea. Like, I had a great childhood. Everybody knew each other. So I'm very lucky for that because we grew up very simple, and we used to go to the beach every other day after school, and I used to go out late, and when I was 15, 16 years old. So I had a very amazing childhood. My parents were very open and cool and kind of like let me do me. And I was a good kid. I was never like crazy and test them. So I grew up in Eilat. Then when I was 18, we moved to Rehovot. It's a small city by Tel Aviv, kind of like the suburbs. And then I started modeling a little bit late. So I traveled. I left basically Israel after the military, like 21, to like 21 to the Netherlands, to Holland, because my dad is Dutch. And then somehow I managed to be in Spain and in Singapore and all that stuff. And then eventually when I was 20, almost 22, I moved to the US, 21, 22. But my childhood was amazing, yeah. Growing up in Israel, I think because of the situation, just in general, that it being intense, growing up in a very intense environment, it just put things in perspective. I think that's the stuff that I come across with the girls in the show, that some of the stuff that, they discuss, to me, it's so not important. It's not real life. It's very shallow at times. I think growing up in Israel just puts things in perspective, what's important in life. And obviously with all, terror and all that stuff, you just know what's important. And I think that's why, I'm always kind of like, I want to say I'm grounded. Yeah. By the way, if you hear a baby crying in the background, I apologize. My husband is with 2 kids in the living room, and I don't know what's going on there. I just hear a baby screaming. I have a 3-month-old, so I mean, that's what babies do. They cry.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I really liked hearing about being grounded. It's so important, especially like nowadays. You kind of get lost sometimes. So a follow-up, I guess, would be with all, like, I know at USC we've experienced a lot of drama in the recent, like, couple months. So I just wanted to ask, have you ever experienced any, like, anti-Semitism in your career? Like, how did you, like, follow through and, like, just continue with being professional?
Thankfully, no. Look, LA, obviously, you have a big Jewish population, and I work with Israelis, and a lot of them are Jewish, but even the non-Jewish clients, thankfully, no. The only thing I'm experienced now here and there is obviously social media. You do get, those comments, about Palestine, and sometimes I really want to answer, but I have to be careful. Obviously, being on a Netflix show, you don't want to step on anyone's toes and piss anyone. So I have to just be careful with what I'm posting. I would love to post more, but I just have to be careful. So yeah, I do get those hater comments about, Israel, killing people and all that stuff. And it really makes me upset because I think people just don't understand the situation. I mean, Israel would be the only place that if they want to attack, they will let you know, hey, we're going to attack, so please go away and don't be there when we, trying to find a terror target or whatever. So it makes me mad that people judge and they don't actually know what's going on in Israel. But I have to stay away from that in social media because otherwise it could just get escalated. So yeah.
So we're now going to switch over to our Q&A. And our first question is coming from Anna Pivchik.
Hi, Maya. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
So I have a question for you. I'm actually now located in Israel, and I'm based in Herzliya, but I recently just started working in real estate in Tel Aviv. So I wanted to ask, what kind of advice would you give for someone that just started working in real estate? Maybe especially in this area, if you're familiar.
That's the thing with Tel Aviv. I want to say in Hebrew you say shchuna. Means like people cutting corners and they want to try to cut your commission and go behind your back. So good luck. But look, yeah, try to maybe just do the high-end properties there. I think Tel Aviv and Herzliya is a good. Obviously, some areas in Tel Aviv are very, very nicely developed, and I think it could be a great market. I just don't know in Israel because I think the buyer pays the commission there. I'm not sure. The seller pays the commission too, but network. I would do that. I don't know if you guys do open houses. I don't think so. So I would just. There is no. I know there is no. I would just do networking and maybe just join a decent office with good branding to start, and maybe tap. Do you speak a different language?
I speak also Russian.
Yeah, so maybe, tap into that niche too, because obviously Ashdod, but yeah, they have a lot of Russian people, so that could work for your advantage as well.
Right.
Maybe do advertisement, but also advertisement. See, here I do Zillow. I don't know in Israel what you do. You have Yach Time, but I don't know if it's
we're Yach Time, Facebook, and different platforms.
So I would do, yeah, social media and then networking. That's probably your best bet in the beginning, and maybe just join a good office.
Yeah.
It just hard for me to give advice on Israel because I don't know how the market there. Like I know my brother was trying to sell his condo and ended up cutting the agent. So I'm like, I hate you. They did it their own. They put it on Yach Time and they sold it. So I'm like, but anyway,
Israelis definitely find ways from things.
It's hard here too. Look, people here are also not loyal, but at least here you have exclusive listing. It's a bit more organized. But I would say
it's not much of a shchuna where you are. I guess it's more relevant in Tel Aviv area.
Yeah. But what you can do also, you can work on maybe high-end building, maybe do in-house. And if you do in-house sales, you can get the clients, and maybe when they want to sell, you're going to have that connection as well.
Right. Obviously, we the office that I joined does work, in the Kavyam and the beach area, Rothschild areas and everything. So we do have, apartments in those high buildings. It's just the fact that the owners, might be so open to be flexible, for open houses or for, so many advertisements, because some of them don't want for us posting on websites or platforms. So, that definitely makes
in Israel, you drive by and you see a sign on the window, on the balcony.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're not crazy about agents, but some definitely love agents and real estate agencies to help them around. So you definitely need to pick your battles. You need to pick your fights and your owners, because you know how Israelis can be.
I know. That's why I try to not work with them. But all the developers in Israel, in LA, they're all Israelis.
We have so many questions. I just want to make sure we get to everybody.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on. You can go, Jenna. Yeah.
I was just going to say our next question is from Elisa Ardai.
Hi. Thank you so much, Maya, for having us today. So my question is, what is your best piece of advice for us as college students?
Wow. So I honestly, follow your dream, right? But also make sure your dream, somehow can support you financially. So it's good to be creative and all that, as long as you can, make a living. I think it's important. And whatever it is, I think you have to work hard and you have to be consistent no matter what job you choose to do. I would say follow your passion and dream for sure, but you also want to make sure in reality you can survive financially with that. And so it will be nice to find a sweet balance of something that you like, but also can help you to survive. And then once you do, then you got to just work for it, and nothing comes easy. Really, nothing comes easy. I mean, even 7 years into real estate, like I get clients flake on me all the time. It's just part of life, and you're going to get disappointed. I mean, it's going to be like a roller coaster, but I think the most important thing is to kind of like, lift yourself up and then move on, like with the disappointment. So just be consistent.
So our next question is from Madison Riccardi.
Hi, Maya. Oh my God, so nice.
Hi.
Okay, so I wanted to know, how do you deal with all the drama within the group? Because obviously you seem like the most sane one. You always stay out of the business, and I just want to know, like, how do you keep that like out of the way and keep work as your top priority?
I don't know what drama you're talking about. I'm kidding. You know what? It's very tough because I do like them all, right? I know some people hate Christine, but I like Christine. I think she's very honest, and she's ballsy, and she's funny, and she makes the show. But I also like Chriselle, so I don't want to take sides. So, I'm being very honest and direct, but at the same time, I just don't want to get into anyone's fight. And thankfully, I also not put in a situation that I have to pick a side. Producers did try to kind of like divided us to two groups. If you notice, like Amanza, Chriselle, Mary in one side, and then Davina, Christine, and kind of like Heter on the other side, and me in the middle. So I want to be in the middle, and honestly, I want to be Switzerland. I just don't want to fight with any of them. Even talking about Mary and Jason favoritism at the office, I wasn't super comfortable talking about it, but I wanted to bring that topic up. So I don't know, I somehow manage. Maybe I can get away with certain things that I say because I have an accent, I think. So yes, Christine said that I can get away with murder because of my accent, but she might be right. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, our next question comes from Frederick Shigog.
Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Hey, Frederick.
Hi. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing well. You?
Blessed and highly favored. Thank you for being on here so much. Appreciate you taking the time to help us. I'm very grateful. So my question is, I'm blessed to own a business, and I'm a college student as well. And I just want to know, like, how do you how do you market? Like, what is your key with marketing? And my second thing is, what like you all, like, after you learn a business, each year you learn something new. Each year you learn something new. What has been the key things that you would have told yourself right now that you've learned in the last 5 years that you didn't know?
Yeah, so it's good. Those great questions. So look, with my business with real estate, and I think it can apply to a lot of business. I do online advertisement. Like, I'm on Zillow, and obviously now they merge with Trulia. So for me, doing online present is very important. I used to do mailers. I used to do more of the old school, even door knocking and all that stuff to get business. But I do find for me online works. Obviously, social media is a great platform, whether if it's Facebook, your business page, or just even your regular Facebook, because people go on your business page, but it's not necessarily that exciting. So they want to see your personal stuff, but then you can put business there, and again, personal and business. So you always remember reminding people what you're actually about. So I post on back then, I'm less active on Facebook now, but I used to post more, hey, here's me with my friends, but hey, I just sold this house. So I do a good mix of social media, personal, and business. And for, I don't know which business you're in, but I do online Zillow. I pay a zip code and I get leads because people go online these days. So less newspapers. I mean, mailer can work too, but then you have to be also spending a lot of money on mailers and just send those out every month. So that could be very expensive. So if you do mailer, you have to make sure you have the budget. Online obviously can be expensive too, but I think some ways can be more affordable, like Facebook advertisement could be a bit more affordable, I would say. And then the stuff that I learned from the past, I learned to narrow down look, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt as far as potential clients, but with certain question, I kind of learned to not waste time on certain people because people will waste your time. You know, you want to give them the service, you want to be kind and nice and give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But if you feel like they're not that serious, don't waste too much of your time on those. Like focus on the important leads that you really think you can generate and try to really narrow that down, because people will waste your time a lot. And still people waste my time. I just got a weird email from someone from Greece. I don't know, it could be just a fan of the show. I replied to him, I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? What's your budget? Could you send me proof of funds? Like when I started real estate, I never asked for proof of funds in the beginning because I was like too nice. But now I'm like, I can't waste time like that. I can't run around with clients and not knowing if they're serious or not. Unfortunately, I have to. So that's what I learned with my business. But I would say generally online advertisement for me. And obviously the show. So
our next question is from Maddie Burton.
Hi, Maya. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Maddie. Hi.
Hi. So my question, I guess, sort of in the same vein of, you know, wanting to make sure that you're not your time isn't being wasted, because every moment is precious, especially in, you know, this kind of business. I noticed there was a moment in an episode where a guy was trying to hit on you and was like, not really interested in real estate. Right. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that situation and like any advice for young women when we're like trying to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and it happens very often with guys. Men will be men, boys will be boys. But, you know, in the beginning, look, when I was single, I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll go have a drink with you. We can talk things. And I was like, again, being very nice. Nothing ever happened. But I always like give people the benefit of the doubt. But at some point, I mean, now I'm married. I have, you know, 2 kids. I can't just go on happy hour with someone. So I think I gained that respect by being married and you know, kind of like provide a different vibe to potential waste of time buyers. So I think, you know, you should just, you know, like literally like call someone on his bullshit, basically. Yeah, if you feel like they're going to waste your time, I mean, yeah, be nice and kind, but don't spend too much time there because, you know, time is money. So I learned the hard way. I wasted a lot of my time on those like fake buyers. But, you know, you just have to kind of like be honest with them and say, look, I mean, I'm happy to help you, but I have like a lot of things to do. I'm very busy, and I wouldn't appreciate if you know, you're not serious or you're not wasting my time in a nicer way. But, you know, women, unfortunately, you can use it for your business because you're a woman, but also it can work as a disadvantage because you're a woman. So it's like a fine line in between. And it took me a couple of, unfortunately, probably one or 2 years to realize that. I did a lot of happy hours and a lot of lunches.
Awesome. Okay, so next we have Kanos Flores.
Hi. I wanted to ask, I know you were kind of looking into like the construction and development side of real estate. Would you recommend like branching out at the same time, like as a realtor? Or like
yeah, it's a good question too. So look, if I had like a lot of money in my bank right now to go and buy a property and flip it, I would maybe try to do it. I think maybe in the beginning I will just try to buy something small and rent it out before I'm doing any kind of like construction. Because look, it's a huge risk. You buy something, you put your money, you have to maybe take a construction loan and all that, then you have to sell it, and you want to make sure the comps basically the comparable makes sense. So right now I'm not going to do it. If I would collaborate with the developer and potentially get some kind of like percentage of the deal and maybe me contributing a little bit of fund to the deal, like fund, not fund, F-U-N-D, funds, maybe that's a potential different business aspect. But right now I'm just an agent and I still just broker deals, but I'm not invested in the deal yet. I think I will just be more comfortable doing it when I have more capital to do so. And it might take time. Yeah. Hopefully not a long time, but yeah.
Our next question is from Julia Roston.
Hi, how are
Julia.
you?
She said Julia Rowe, and I was like, Julia Roberts is here?
That's funny. I wish, but no. My question is, you spent a lot of time going in between California and Florida, and it seemed like you had kept doing it after you had children. So I was wondering how that worked, like if they flew back and forth with you or if they stayed in Miami with your husband.
Yeah, so first, I'm going to open the door for my dog. Hold on a second. Just a second. So, sorry about that, guys. I have a little puppy here and I have another kid. He's my dog. Anyways, so first season I was pregnant, right? So I flew every week between Miami and LA, back and forth, literally every Thursday to Sunday. Second year, like last season when we filmed, I was with my son and my husband was doing a lot of the back and forth. So every time I was with my son in LA, every time I flew to Miami to see my husband, I took my baby with me. Yeah, and people, I flew with the baby all the time. And people looked at me and felt sorry for me because they saw me traveling with a baby and a dog together. And I was pregnant with my second daughter. But we wrapped filming literally basically in January. Then we had a couple of pickup scenes that I had to fly twice for in LA. And I was pregnant, but I flew for a day or two and my husband was here with my son. And then since then I wasn't in LA because of COVID. And they wanted me to fly one more time for some interviews for season 3 in March, like a week before quarantine started. And I'm like, no way, Jose, I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm not going to fly all the way to LA to ask you how I feel about Michelle's divorce. I already told you a million times, use whatever you got. I'm done. So I haven't flown to LA. And I think, if we do season 4, I don't know if we're going to do, then I'll have to figure it out. I'll probably have to, I don't know actually what I'm going to do. I have no clue. I'll take it as it comes. We'll see.
So we got a question from Brianna Kovit. Her question is, without naming names, what is the craziest celebrity interaction you have had when selling a house?
I can tell you. I mean, I sold the house to, it wasn't a crazy interaction, but it was just pretty cool because I love his songs. I sold the house to Ludacris. He was one of my first clients, actually. I sold him a house 5 years ago. I met him in a restaurant. He sat next to me in the table and I just networked. So I gave him a business card and took probably 1 year until we actually finally bought something. But yeah, I mean, it was one of my, I guess, I want to say highlight of my career because I think it was my second year in real estate. And, not to brag, but I was proud of myself because this guy has a lot of network. He knows a lot of people and he chose me to be his agent. So it was pretty cool. And then I showed a house to Jennifer Lopez in LA when she was dating Casper, her ex-boyfriend, before A-Rod. So I showed them a house. Then she never bought it. It was a lake house in Big Bear because he wanted to buy a lake house. So that was my celebrity experience, basically. But nothing crazy. It's just, it's funny because when, obviously I love Jennifer Lopez, I love Ludacris, I love his music. But when you work with them as clients, your mindset is completely different. I literally switched. It was very businessy, very to the point. So yeah. So nothing crazy, just a nice experience to put on my resume, I guess.
Always good for the resume. Very exciting. So we have our next question from Bianca Kermani. I don't know if she's...
Sorry, that question was...
No, I have...
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, here you are.
Hi, Maya.
Hi.
Huge fan.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, a lot of us are super involved in Israel advocacy on campus and some of us Israeli. So we wanted to know what you miss most about Israel, if you ever plan on going back to Israel at one point, how do you maintain any Israeli traditions with your family, things like that.
Yeah, so before my son, I used to go to Israel twice a year. I made sure every Rosh Hashanah and Passover I'm in Israel because, I'm not super religious. I would say I'm probably not religious actually, but I celebrate the holidays and I love Yom Kippur in Israel. I think it's so unique and so special. I don't know if you've ever been in Yom Kippur in Israel, but there is this special silence. And same with Friday night, like Shabbat. So I really miss that. And, with 2 kids, obviously now with COVID, I cannot travel, so it's kind of suck because the holidays are coming soon in like 10 days. I'm hoping maybe I can go in April. I don't know how I'm going to travel with 2 babies, 12 hours, but we'll see. We'll see. I might need a lot of wine on that flight. But, I really miss Israel. I used to go twice a year up until 2 years ago. And last time I was there, like exactly 2 years ago in October, I flew. I do miss the holidays in Israel. I think it's a different feel. Like you go to the grocery store, it's like big, balagan and everybody excited. And I miss that. So, here if I do it with friends, it's nice. It's just not the same for me. It's nothing like being home with your family and do it in the most authentic way. There is just a special, unique feeling about it. So I guess I do miss a lot the holidays. I still drink my Israeli Nescafe. I don't drink any other coffee, only Nescafe. I know some people say, oh, it's gross, but I like Nescafe. I go to the Israeli stores. I buy my Israeli, snacks and all that. I like that. Although now I'm on a no sugar diet, so I don't buy the Kif Kef and Pesach Zman and all those like yummy sweets. But yeah, I miss it. Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do in Rosh Hashanah. There's even nothing here because of the COVID. So that COVID screwed a lot of plans.
Yeah.
So maybe, I'm hoping maybe either March, I don't know, maybe March I can go. Who knows, right?
And you speak Hebrew at home?
Yeah. So I speak with my son and the baby is 3 months, but I speak with him Hebrew all the time. Because look, he's going to go to daycare next month. It's a Jewish, it's a Jewish daycare, but they obviously speak primary English. So it's important for me to speak with him Hebrew. Look, my dad is Dutch, and he never spoke Dutch with us as kids. So I understand it a little bit, but I wish I would speak it. It's not like I need it on a daily basis, but I really want to. I think it's cool to know another language. So it's important for me, for my son to know Hebrew because he has nieces and nephews in Israel, and my parents speak Hebrew. English, but it would be nice if he speaks it. So, because he's half Israeli after all.
Awesome. Our next question is from Rachel Moreau.
Hi, Maya. I am such a big
Hi, Rachel.
So great to meet you. My questions are, did you expect the show to become as popular as it did? And what are some behind the scenes of the show that you can share with us, like a group?
So, we knew we had something good because the producer is basically, he did The Hills. Well, a lot of you guys are young college kids, but The Hills came out on MTV like 10 years ago. I think it was 10 years ago, maybe even more. It was a huge hit. So it's the same producer. So we knew we had a good bond, but Netflix didn't do any marketing for the show. So for season 1, we got a little bit of buzz, but it also took 1 year between season 1 and 2 until we film, until the edit and all that. So I think season 2 and 3 really took over. Obviously season 3, everybody wanted to know what happened to Chriselle. So I think that really, unfortunately for her, but it's a good TV show. And we just, I still don't understand the amount of success we have because Netflix doesn't show the numbers. I can only see with our social media that it's been blowing. It's been top 10 pretty much in the world, which is pretty cool. So I'm very happy about that. Now behind the scenes, people, there were talks that a lot of the girls are not really agents, that it's all fake and all that. So look, everybody are licensed. Now, if everybody sells a house every Monday and Friday, no. It takes time. I myself had dry periods. I didn't sell anything for months. So it's not scripted. We don't get script. We all pretty much get along, I would say. Mostly, except Chriselle and Christine, I wouldn't say they get along. But all of us pretty much get along. I talked to Amanza, it's my sister Chriselle. I saw someone on the chat about Chriselle with Dancing with the Stars. So I messaged her, congratulations of doing Dancing with the Stars. I talk to Christine all the time. So, we all pretty much get along. Look, Jason used to have all these like fun, parties at his house and Super Bowl and all that stuff. So we get along and we hang when I lived in LA, I hanged with them more. And I do like them all. It's like a big, I guess, dysfunctional family, if you want to call it that way. Jason can be difficult. Brett is nicer, but Jason, I have a lot of respect to the two of them. Someone is asking about Davina also. So I actually talk to Davina all the time. I want to tell you guys, she's probably the smartest. Well, not the most, I guess, experienced. And I think the editing was a little bit unfair to her, and she came across a little bit more harsh. But look, I'm Israeli, I'm very direct, but I think the delivery of her message sometimes come across harsh, but she's a nice person. No, so the home buyer, sorry, Alex, I just saw another call about the $75 million house. So I actually sent it to one of my potential clients, but this house is overpriced. It's not worth 75 million, and we all know that. So we'll see. But it's still technically for sale. So if you guys know anyone, let me know. We'll try to convince the seller to take 50.
Definitely, we'll let you know. So our next question is from Talia Korn.
Hi, this is so cool. I love this show.
Thank you.
And I wanted to know how you feel about sharing so much of your personal life with your coworkers and how you kind of find that balance.
Yeah, so, when I was, so when we filmed the first season, I was pregnant. I literally found out I was pregnant. I was 6 weeks when me and Chriselle were shooting the pregnancy scene and all that. And I wasn't sure if I should share it or not because I didn't know if I'm going to have another miscarriage. But I chose to share it because I think it's a very common topic and I think women can relate. So I was hoping I'm going to encourage some women, whether, if it stick or whether if it doesn't. And thankfully it stick, and my son is 16 months old, actually 17 months now. And I got pregnant right away, second time. So it was my thing to share it. I'm a very open person. I don't have any secrets. I don't try to pretend I'm someone else and I'm not. I'm very open. Sometimes I wish I wasn't that open, but I don't care like what people think or say, so I share things. I wish I could show my husband on the show, but because he works in finances, he has a very good job and a real job, He can't just be on a reality show and risk his career, but I would love to show him more. So I tried to show him a little bit on social media, but would be nice if we could film, us going on a dinner or something, but it's probably not going to happen. So I try to share my kids, obviously my personal stories with the miscarriage. I think it's a good topic, because it's just so common. And I have no problem sharing it with the girls. I mean, yeah, that's, I was always very open, so.
So we have another question from Scott Rothschild. I don't think he's on the call anymore, but he asked, how do Jewish ethics and values aid you in your job, or does it influence you in like your day-to-day?
I think because, look, I mean, I'm obviously completely Israeli with my accent. I came to the state when I was 20, 21, 22. I just have a determination. I work really hard. So I think that's my Israeli personality. I guess I'm a hustler. I know I don't have a backup. My dad did some flips, but they not always were successful. So I didn't grow up with some money. So I always knew I have to work hard for my survival, I guess, if you want to call it this way. So I never had a backup, and I always like to work hard, and I think that's what helps me with business. I don't take anything for granted. And I'm doing transaction. I just did a lease for $4,000, so the commission check on that is $1,000. But for me, it's nice to sell $5, $6, $3, $4 million house, but that lease, $1,000 pays your car payment, it pays your insurance, so money is money to me. Maybe that's the Jewish personality too, like it's all about money. But I think it's important to treat your clients also equally, and I think that's, I don't know, just probably coming from Israel and not take things for granted. It makes you appreciate more. That's what it is.
So Maya, this is our last question. We got a ton of questions asking this. What are you working on now? Anything else you want us to know about? And I know you touched on this before, but any season 4 possibilities?
Yeah, so I have like probably 4 clients right now looking to buy in LA. One of them is looking up to 100 million. So that's a very, sound like a very serious client, but I don't know. We'll see. I really hope so. Then I have a couple of people from the UK who wants to buy one a house in the hills, one a condo. So, if COVID restrictions will, allow them to travel and they will want to come see places in LA. I mean, I'll probably have to fly to LA for a day or two to do showings. And hopefully I can have a solution who is actually watching my kids while I'm doing that. And I have a couple of very, nice buyers that I'm working in Miami that looking to buy. A couple of them want to buy second, time condos up to 7 and 10 million, and 2 of them looking to buy for house for 10 and 20 million. And I have 2 deals under contract right now, smaller deals, and 1 negotiation for like another house for 10. But the deals is never closed until you actually close. So as they say, what they say, like doesn't over until the fat lady sing or something like that. Some saying like that. I think I said it in the show one time. Until escrow doesn't close and the check is not in my bank account, it's all potential. But real estate takes time. We're not closing a deal over a phone call. Now, as far as season 4, look, I mean, I would be shocked if we're not going to have a season 4. I think the show is very, very successful with Netflix. That being said, I don't know. We didn't hear anything. So I wish I could share it with you guys, but I have no clue. I would hope so. I think there is more to see.
Are you still interested in becoming your own broker?
I'm studying for my broker's license. I gotta tell you, I got the book right here.
Oh.
but it's been sitting here like vacant for a couple of weeks now because I had 0 time. So once my son go back to daycare, once someone can watch my baby for 2 hours or 3 hours so I can actually have quiet time and focus, I'm going to resume. I'm going to do it. I'm with Douglas Elliman in Miami. I don't know. Maybe I'll do my own thing. Maybe not. I have to see when I get the license what to do and see how many clients I have. If I really need, the branding behind, let's say Douglas Elliman, or maybe collaborate with Jason ideally. But we'll see.
Okay, so I just want to say we're almost about done with everything. It's almost 7 o'clock and we want to be conscious of your time because we know that time is money and every minute counts. So we just want to say thank you so much, Maya, for answering all of those questions. I know it was a lot, but you always answered so nicely. I want to say thank you to Jenna and Alex for hosting this call, and Hillel International team, Hillel Home, all of you guys, over 400 students joining us here on the Zoom and many more on the Facebook Live. You're amazing, asking so many questions and being so much involved. I just want to say, please stay tuned to the Hillel Home page. I want you to see what other events we have in the future, like Nas Daily and Nathan Sharansky, Gil Troy, many more. Please check them out. We also have high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, October 6th. Please check that out, and we want you to have a good time during this time. We're also going to put down a feedback on the chat. Please share your opinion. We would love to hear more about your experience on this call. And I think that's it. Thank you so, so much. You can
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
Shana Tova, and if you believe, you achieve.